man. They ended up dropping the viewership for that game. And this is what it said, man. Sunday nights on NBC are just meant for sports. The network aired the first two games of its Sunday night basketball franchise last weekend, and the doubleheader delivered record-setting viewership. Sunday night's first game between the Los Angeles Lakers and the New York Knicks from Madison Square Garden averaged 4.5 million viewers across NBC and Telemundo. Oh my goodness, 4.5? Making it the most watched Sunday night regular season game since 2000.
4.5 million viewers. Let that number sink in for a second. That's not a playoff game. That's not the finals. That's a regular season NBA game on a random Sunday night in January 2025, and it just became the most watched Sunday night regular season game since 2002. The reason? Caitlin Clark sat in the analyst chair for exactly one game, and NBC just hit the jackpot they didn't even know they were buying. Because here's what makes this absolutely wild. The NBA has been struggling with viewership all season. Ratings have been dwindling across the board. They tried everything to juice the numbers for All-Star Weekend, even floating the idea of bringing Caitlin over for a three-point contest against Steph Curry. And what happens? She shows up as an analyst, not even playing, and suddenly 4.5 million people tune in to watch the Lakers and Knicks. That's Caitlin Clark's gravitational pull in.
On the videos of what was going on, and people were in the comment section literally telling me, look, I went for Caitlin, but I ended up staying watching the game a little bit. And I think somebody actually said that was their first NBA game that they watched this year. So, look, man, Caitlin motion is ridiculous. Anything she puts her hand on, it turns to gold. It's crazy work. It's crazy work, man. And I've never seen this for women's basketball.
Now, catch what he's saying there about people showing up for Caitlin and actually staying for the game. That's not just anecdotal. That's the holy grail of sports broadcasting. You don't just want eyeballs, you want retention. You want people who came for the curiosity factor to actually get invested in the product. And according to multiple comments he saw, that's exactly what happened. First-time NBA viewers this season, people who haven't watched basketball in months, all showing up because Caitlin Clark's name was attached to the broadcast. This is the Michael Jordan effect, playing out in real time. Except it's happening for women's basketball. And here's the uncomfortable truth that the WNBA has to grapple with. Their biggest star is currently generating more mainstream interest for the NBA than she is for her own league. That's not a criticism of Caitlin. That's just the reality of where the media landscape sits right now. She's transcendent. The question is whether the WNBA can capitalize on it before the window closes.
It was saying they needed Caitlin Clark to come over and shoot in the three-point contest, or at least have that contest against Stephen Curry, because they need her. They need her, man. Their numbers has been dwindling as well. So I can imagine they're thinking like, hey, look, we have a hot commodity. Let's get her over and let's get some viewership going for the All-Star Weekend. And that's why I didn't necessarily like what Elle Duncan was doing when she was trying to say, you know, it's a battle between men and women and the men need to go over there. It's like, man, it's not about that, man. It's not about that at all. It's just getting the hot commodity to come over and help.
And this is where it gets complicated, because the NBA absolutely needs Caitlin Clark right now. Their ratings are down. Their All-Star Weekend needed a boost. And when they floated that three-point contest idea with Steph Curry, it wasn't just some fun exhibition concept. It was a calculated move to inject relevance into an event that's been losing cultural cachet for years. They need her star power. They need her audience. They need the casual fans who don't normally watch NBA basketball, but will show up if Caitlin Clark is involved. But then you had Elle Duncan on ESPN, trying to flip the narrative, trying to make it about gender wars and men needing to come over to the women's side. And look, I get the impulse to protect the WNBA's territory, but that's not what this was about. This was about the NBA recognizing that Caitlin Clark is the hottest commodity in basketball right now, regardless of gender, and trying to leverage that for their own struggling product. The NBA has subsidized the WNBA's existence for almost 3 decades. Is it really that controversial to ask their biggest star to help out for one weekend?
Might want Caitlin Clark back more than that March 29th appearance that they already announced. Let's take a look at this, man. According to NBC Sports President Rick Cordella, Clark's performance checked every box the network hoped for. The appearance was not treated as a one-off moment, but rather as a glimpse into what her future in sports media could look like. While Clark remains focused on her playing career, NBC clearly views her as a natural fit in front of the camera and someone worth investing in long term.
So now NBC Sports President Rick Cordella is on record saying he wants Caitlyn back for more than just that March 29th game against the Thunder. He's not just being polite. He's not just giving generic praise. He specifically said she did a good job, handled her role with ease, understood the game, communicated clearly. Those are the qualities that translate from the court to the broadcast booth. And more importantly, he said the door is open for additional appearances beyond what's already scheduled. Think about what that means. NBC just paid billions of dollars for NBA rights. They're looking at their investment and trying to maximize every possible angle. And in one night, Caitlyn Clark proves she can deliver the audience they need. She's not just a novelty. She's not just a one-time rating spike. She's someone who can actually do the job at a high level while bringing millions of viewers with her. That's why Cordella is already talking about expanding her role before she's even done her second appearance.
Announcement. So it says NBC Sports is planning to bring Clark back later this season. Cordella confirmed that she is scheduled to appear as an analyst for the Knicks versus Thunder on March 29th. As we know, he also added that he hopes to see more of Clark moving forward, signaling that the door is open for additional appearances. While no expanded role has been formally announced, the comment suggested genuine interest rather than casual praise. So, hey man, I don't know. We might see Caitlyn working that booth. That'll be dope though, man. That'll be dope. Of course, with everything going on with the WNBA, we don't even know if we're going to have a season, man. Nonsensical.
And here's where the timing gets really interesting. We don't even know if there's going to be a WNBA season in 2025. The CBA negotiations are completely stalled. The players' union opted out of the current deal. And while both sides are talking, there's a very real possibility that we could be looking at a lockout or a delayed season, which means the only dose of Caitlyn Clark that fans might get this year could be these NBC analyst appearances. That's not ideal for anyone. The WNBA needs Caitlyn on the court, not in the broadcast booth. Her value is exponentially higher as an active player than as an analyst. But if the CBA situation drags on, if we're sitting here in April with no resolution, NBC is going to keep calling. And Caitlyn might end up being the face of basketball in 2025 without ever actually playing a game. That's how absurd this situation has become.
Don't know if we're going to have a season, so this might be the only dose of Caitlyn Clark the fans could get. And, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm here for it. I'm here for it if that's all we're going to get. But I definitely hope that they end up figuring out this whole CBA thing, man. Now, I did see this yesterday, but I didn't too much care to talk about it, man. It's the same old status quo with the CBA proposal, but somehow it was leaked by Ramona Shelburne. I don't think it was leaked by her. I think ESPN leaked it. She just put it on her Twitter. But it's funny that it says confidential and everybody has it now. But anyway.
Now let's talk about what actually leaked yesterday, because this CBA proposal is fascinating when you dig into the details. Ramona Shelburne somehow got her hands on a confidential document that lays out the league's offer. And despite the confidential stamp on every page, it's now public knowledge. Whether that leak came from the league trying to win public opinion or from the players' union trying to show how insulted they are, we don't know. But the numbers are out there now. The league is proposing a supermax salary that starts at $1.2 million in 2026 and could reach $1.8 million by year 5 of the deal. Under a higher revenue scenario, that number jumps to 2.5. The average player salary would go from $120,000 currently to $540,000 immediately, climbing to $780,000 by the end of the 5-year deal. In the optimistic projection, the average salary across the entire league could hit $1 million. For 4 months of work. For a league that's never turned a profit in 28 years of existence.
And then free WNBA League Pass. Man, that's tough. That is tough, man. They can't even watch. They watching like us. That's crazy work. But one thing I did like a long time ago that they announced was the two new developmental player roster spots. Now, it's a kick to it because I think they only get to play 8 games or something like that. I'll take it, because 12 players, man. I mean, come on, fam. They need more players than that. But they have 14 to the roster now, and I think each player can play 8 games in the league. But yeah, man, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I just felt like it was something interesting about that, though. But yeah, if they could play 8 games, I'll take it. It's working in the right direction of adding more players to that roster. That's the main thing I want. That and referees, man. All this other stuff, y'all work that out. But referees and more players to that roster. That's what I want, man. But nonetheless, this is everything that's really going on with the CBA negotiation, man. So I'll keep my eyes out for it, but I just didn't feel like this was something I wanted to talk about. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about Caitlin Clark record-breaking viewership, and then also, how do you feel about the CBA? Do you like it? Do you love it? You think it's fair? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comment section, man. I love y'all. Y'all keep it smooth.
So let's break down why this matters, and why the reaction has been so divided. Because, on one hand, you have people looking at these numbers and saying, this is an incredible offer. The league is essentially betting on its own future growth and guaranteeing massive salary increases before that growth even materializes. They're projecting revenue increases and baking those projections into guaranteed contracts. That's a huge risk for the ownership group. If the revenue doesn't materialize, they're still on the hook for these salaries. That's not how business typically works. But on the other hand, you have players and their supporters calling this a slap in the face. And their argument is that the league is lowballing the revenue projections to justify smaller salary increases. They're saying the WNBA is about to explode in value with Caitlin Clark as the face of the league, with new media deals kicking in, with expansion teams paying hundreds of millions in franchise fees. And they want a bigger piece of that pie right now, not 5 years from now when they have to renegotiate again. Here's my take on it. This proposal is actually pretty generous, given the financial reality of where the WNBA stands today. The league has never made money. It's been subsidized by the NBA for its entire existence. The fact that they're offered to nearly quintuple the average salary based on projected future growth is remarkable. But I also understand the players' frustration. They've been hearing about how valuable the league is, how much the new media deals are worth, how expansion is going to bring in massive fees. And then they see a proposal that phases in increases over 5 years, and they feel like they're being asked to wait for money that's already been generated. The real issue is trust. The players don't trust the league's accounting. They don't trust the revenue projection. They don't believe the league when they say the money isn't there yet. And that's because the WNBA has always been opaque about its finances. We don't actually know how much money the league makes or loses because those numbers aren't public. So when the league says we can't afford more than this, the players have no way to verify that claim. They just have to take the league's word for it. And after years of feeling undervalued and underpaid, they're not in a trusting mood. But here's what concerns me about the players' position. They're acting like this is their only chance to ever negotiate again. Like if they don't get everything they want right now, they're locked into a bad deal forever. But that's not how CBAs work. This is a 5-year deal. If the league explodes in value over the next 5 years, if Caitlin Clark drives ratings through the roof, if expansion brings in billions in new revenue, the players can point to all of that in the next negotiation and demand a much bigger piece. They'll have leverage. They'll have proof. They'll have concrete evidence that the league is worth more than anyone thought. But if they hold out now, if they force a lockout or a canceled season, they risk killing the momentum that Caitlin Clark has built. Because here's the harsh reality, casual fans don't care about CBA negotiation. They don't care about revenue sharing formulas or luxury tax thresholds. They just want to watch Caitlin Clark play basketball. And if there's no season in 2025, those casual fans are going to move on. They're going to forget about the WNBA, and when the league finally does come back, whenever that is, the momentum will be gone. The window will have closed. That's what makes this situation so precarious. The WNBA has never been more relevant than it is right now. Caitlin Clark's rookie season brought unprecedented attention to the league. Ratings were up across the board. Attendance was spiking. Media coverage was everywhere. This is the moment the WNBA has been waiting for since, and they're about to potentially waste it because the players and the league can't agree on how to split money that hasn't even been made yet. Look at some of the other stuff in this proposal. They're eliminating marijuana testing. They're adding treatment programs for substance abuse. They're giving players free WNBA League Pass, which is wild because apparently players had to pay to watch their own league before this. They're adding 2 developmental roster spots, which is huge for expanding opportunities, even if those players can only appear in 8 games. They're giving all players complimentary all-star tickets. These are real improvements to working conditions and player benefits. But none of that matters if the salary numbers don't meet expectations. And that's where we're stuck. The league thinks they're being generous. The players think they're being disrespected. And meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out here setting viewership records for the NBA, while her own league can't figure out if there's even going to be a season for her to play in. So here's the question that matters. Is this proposal perfect? No. Is it everything the players deserve? Probably not. But is it good enough to accept so the season can happen and the league can capitalize on this unprecedented moment of relevance? I think it is, because the alternative is sitting out, losing momentum, and watching Caitlin Clark become the face of NBA broadcasts instead of WNBA games. And that benefits nobody except NBC. The players have leverage right now. They have they have the momentum of Caitlin Clark's popularity behind them. But leverage only works if you're willing to use it strategically. And sometimes the strategic move is to take a good deal, prove your value over the next 5 years, and then come back to the table with undeniable evidence that you deserve more. Because if the WNBA really does explode in value like everyone thinks it will, the next CBA negotiation is going to be a completely different conversation. But only if there's a 2025 season to build on. Is the league lowballing the players, or are the players overestimating their leverage? Should they accept this deal and prove their value, or hold out for everything they want right now? Drop your take in the comments, because this is the conversation that's going to define the WNBA's future. And if you want to see more breakdowns like this, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 37,000 subscribers and we're almost there. Let's get it.